Welcome to Climbing Together, the small business experience. I'm Beth Houtrow, founder of Climb the Small Business Book Club, and every episode I talk to a small business owner about a mistake that they've made and what they learned from the experience. Mistakes are inevitable, perfection's impossible, so let's embrace the mistake. And today we're so excited to welcome Angela Aquino to the podcast. Angela, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Hey Beth, my name is Angela Aquino and my business is called Silver Dahlia Baking, where we make custom cakes and cupcakes for all your events, birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, fundraisers, anything.
Where are you located?
We are located here in Oakland, California. And I am a third generation baker. I immigrated from the Philippines, came here to the United States like mid high school, and didn't really pick up. This is my second career. Didn't really pick up baking till a little bit before the pandemic started, until it just sort of hit me. I've been around so many cakes growing up and being the one to crack the eggs, like 10 dozen eggs constantly. That like, hey, let me give this a shot. Yeah. So
Nice.
digging through my stuff, I just, came across, I brought it here 2 generations, my Lola or my grandma's recipe book with some even like literally Manila Times 1960 something clippings of cakes. Yeah, and some really strange recipes, but I guess they ate it then. And then my mom's recipe books, where
nice.
she, cut out from really old magazines when she immigrated here to the United States. And then just looking through that, I'm like, I remember this. Let me try it. And so from experimentation to kind people who would eat my cakes for experimentation, it just developed and I just found my joy in this business.
That's so wonderful. And you make the prettiest cakes. Like your decorations are so great. We'll share your Instagram handle in the show notes. But people, even if you're not in Oakland or the Bay Area, you can't get the cakes, you should follow Angela because you can just look at her cake creations because they're so cool. I love them so much. So excited to have you on the podcast. All right. So, but we are here to talk about mistakes. So talk to me about a mistake you had when you were kind of growing your business and things were changing.
Yeah. So, right. You have this idea, you'll market, hey, come buy cupcakes for me. And then when it came, great, I can handle it. And then the orders came and yay, I said, yes, yes, yes. And like, oh, wait, how do I put this in my fridge? How do I store? How many baking pans do I need? I can't keep washing the same 2-3 baking pans that I have. And it just came and that was my mistake. Like, you have the big picture of your business. For mine is the baking. I have the game plan for a few orders coming in, but when the wedding and birthdays, and I said yes, and it came, I didn't have a vision or a game plan, because you have to bake at a certain time, making the decorations, the fondants, early. I did not have a game plan, so it was just panic mode when I already said yes to all these important, events for these people.
Yeah, it is such a classic mistake that we know how to make, a few of something because that's how you start. And you're like, I can handle this. But as things grow, we don't think about storage. We don't think about timing. We don't think about all of those pieces that get much more complex when you're doing it 4 times, 5 times what you're used to doing it, right? Scaling it. So I love that example as a mistake because it's pretty classic. I mean, I can't tell you, I always talk about candle making because I have so many candle business students. But then I'm like, okay, great. So you can make, I don't know, 20 candles in a day. But what happens when you say you're going to sell to me 1,000 candles, what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna put all those candles? Where, like, how are you gonna, where are you gonna order it from? And so the logistics just become so much more complex. And I'm sure in baking, it's so much more complex. Yeah. And you have to obviously make sure things don't go bad and store things in the correct way. So, yes, I can only imagine. So, did you get better at game planning? Are you prepared for that now?
Yes, so like being just mindful and thoughtful before you say yes, looking at how many orders that day and how much materials, is it doable to say yes to 3 weddings a weekend? Or maybe you just have to say no. And knowing my personal capacity limitations, my kitchen limitations, my storage limitations, and then knowing like, okay, I want to say no to 3 weddings next time. Then okay, where do I have enough baking pans? Where do I store? Is that all arranged? So when it comes, I can confidently say yes. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Do you ever get help? Is that anything, or you still do it on your own?
Yeah, I just kind of really nicely a friend's niece who went to community college and she finished some pastry. I mean, she's like 19 and she finished a little pastry course and she wanted practice. So there was a baking order with 200 cupcakes. So she frosted away for me for practice and she's willing to come. So that's another big plus too. Like it was just really grateful to get a little bit of help on the
Yeah,
day of. Yeah.
absolutely. Nice. All right. Well, I love those examples. And I just think it's so important for entrepreneurs to think about what their capacity is and then design systems, right, that help you increase your capacity, right? If you
Yeah.
understand, if I do it in this order, in this order, in this order, then I can do more. Although I think inevitably that storage for you is probably always the thing that, yeah, is your breaking point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Well, so this podcast is brought to us by Climb the Small Business Book Club. And of course, our two tenants are continual learning and community. And I know that you have a book for us today that has meant something to you and your learning. So, what's that book?
So this is all, I guess, almost a mistake already. I wished I had read this book, Rejection Proof by Jia Zhang, which I read in your book club. And then it just speaks to me even to this day. And I need to read it. It's almost like a self-help book at the same time. So it's written by this Asian American man, and it talks about fear and shame and how he started his business. And that's just so true. Like I said, this is my second career. And so, coming from the education, I was a school principal, and I, it was so hard to give up something like that. And I was moving up, I was supporting the principals, and then thinking about this joy of starting the business. um, it was just really hard to make that. And then I, cut my other job to send for, but trying to build this one, I missed the paycheck, like he was saying about his corporate job. And yes, I had a supportive partner, but it's still hard. You miss that, and you definitely like, am I crazy? I have this great job, I'm successful at it, and then but there's this passion that's nagging. The big joke among immigrants is that we're dream killers because unless you're a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, like, we did not come to this country for you to earn minimum, like
Yeah.
you have a college degree. So I'm careful not to say that to my own kid. If he says, I want to be a basketball player, I'm like, really? Like there's a lot of fear, right? The insecurity. And so he just talks about how he was kind of little by little breaking through the fear and the shame. And I'm actually gonna reread it because it's still super scary to break out completely. But I definitely have made some fearless steps after reading this book.
Oh, good. Yes,
Yeah.
I love that book. And look, not an Asian American immigrant, but still plenty of fear of being rejected, still very
Oh my
uncomfortable with
gosh.
yeah, not having that success, right? Like
Yeah.
that came with the my last job was director of operations in an accelerator, and I could talk about it and be like, this is what I do, and la la la. And now
Yeah,
I'm like, well, I'm a small business owner, right? Yeah, trying to make it, figure it out and make it work. And so,
exactly.
yeah. And so I totally get it. And I love that book. I mean, it's one of the reasons I picked it is um, I needed to be reminded to ask for more things, ask for more help, be willing to put myself out there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
totally agree. Nice. All right. So our last question is about community. How have you met other entrepreneurs and what have they meant to you in your journey?
I think how I meet people, other small business owners, is actually almost by accident. I do have one or two friends who started their own business, and then running into people. It's very hard actually to have a community of bakers because we're all in the kitchen on our own baking. It's not like we can stop baking and go for coffee. It's a little more challenging, but I think for me, it's just whenever I can listen to their stories of their challenges and how they're doing, everything from financially to emotionally, and then doing what I can to support them for other promotion or purchasing from them. I think that, that's really comforting to see
Yeah,
there's others out
absolutely.
there.
Yeah, once you become a small business owner, every time I was at Costco a couple of days ago and I saw a book I wanted, and I would like reach for, I was like, no, you have to go to the book, like a local bookstore and buy this, right? You have
Yeah,
this, I mean, you have this really clear inclination that I want people to support me, then I have to go out and support them. I have to go support the other small business owners that are out there. So
absolutely. It is super easy to just do Amazon or Costco, you know, of the small, tiny items, which we can purchase locally as much as
yeah.
we can.
Totally. Yes. Well, and it's a great way to build community. I met the
Yeah.
local bookstore owner and was on my podcast. So
Oh,
yeah.
yay.
Yeah. So small business owners want to connect with each other, right?
Yeah.
We all know it's lonely. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
just be willing to chat with people, like you said, kind of as you're out and about in life. Great way to build community. All right. Well, Angela, that's our podcast today. Thanks so much for joining me.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you, Beth, and good luck on your business as well.
Thank you. This podcast is brought to you by Climb the Small Business Book Club, where entrepreneurs go to learn, discuss, apply, and grow. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to subscribe at Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, or follow us on Instagram at Climb Book Club. And always remember, mistakes are inevitable, perfection's impossible. So let's embrace the mistake.